So this is a 2018 Flex Walker, and this is an oil tank upgrade kit. I've never done this before. I have no idea what I'm doing. But let's find out together. So the first thing we're going to need to do, we're going to have to take our lids off, and we will pull our oil section, our old tank section out. Easier said than done, though. This seems pretty straightforward. Let's talk about it for a second. The old unit, we have two white plastic bottles. Production on those bottles has ceased to exist, and these are sub-tanks. Instead of sub-tanks and the bottle, we're going to have two individual reservoirs instead. The good news with this is it's less plumbing. There's less potential leak points because there are less parts involved. But we will have to transfer over our oil pump motor and our oil valves and our oil pumps as well. So the question is, do you think that the normal average person who might be running or maintaining that machine in their bowling center can do this upgrade? I don't know. I've never done it before. So we're all going to go through this together and learn, and we might have some setbacks. We don't know yet. So far, the local product rep has sold like 30 of these things, and I've had a few people contact me and say, hey, I got this, can you come and install it? And I said I would be more than happy to, but you would be the first person. Do you really want to guinea pig your lane machine? Or would you rather wait for me to get mine and I can guinea pig so you don't have to? Let's get a little light in here so you can kind of see. Oh, not in my eyes, please. We're going to manually move our oil dispensing tip out of the way. And that's going to give us free access to the goodies here. I reef that down with pliers, so let me grab some pliers real quick. We're going to need to remove this thumb screw. But it's not a thumb screw anymore because I tightened it down so much. So that's coming out. Let's look at our plumbing and electrical here. Back in this corner there's two plugs. A 3-pin plug for power to the pump motor, and a 9-pin plug that is your switches, your float switches, and your valves. In our case here, we have two 90-degree elbows that we're going to take out as well. Some machines have these, some don't. If you order a new dispensing tip, it comes with extra long hoses that go all the way down into the plumbing fittings behind the cover here. These ones have 90-degree elbows right here, so we're just going to disconnect here and here. What we want to do before we break these elbows free is we either want to pull the oil dispensing tip out and place it on a towel, or place a rag or something under there. When we open these lines up, air is going to be allowed to enter the tubing, and the oil will exit the dispensing tip. So watch out for that. I went ahead and just put some rags underneath that oil dispensing tip to catch the drips. This might be a easier thing to do with two hands, but I'm going to try it single-handedly. Please. There we go. Okay. So those are unclipped or disconnected, and then unclipped. We've got our screw out here. The next part I will need two hands for, because we're going to lift this up, we're going to tip it up and bring it out, and we can set it on the ground. Just like this. I've got my knee against it here so it can't go forward, and I'm against the frame here, so it can't go backwards, theoretically. I may need 2 hands to disconnect these cables also. But this one's your 3-pin, and this is your like a 9-pin connector. Is it 9? No, it is 6. Aha, I lied. So our assembly's disconnected. We're going to go ahead. We're just going to bring it over up to the workbench. And in true "well, I'm in here" fashion, we're going to wipe down this end wall. We've got a little bit of buildup in here. We haven't gotten to our weekly deep clean yet, so this does get cleaned weekly, this back edge here. But we'll take the extra opportunity to wipe this area down because you don't get in here very often, right? I'm going to switch over to a microphone just because we do have a league that's going to be starting at some point during this process, and we don't want to get drowned out by that noise. But let's start. We're going to take these 2 screws off and expose the guts, basically. Yeah, I don't think there's any way I can possibly do all 30 of these upgrade kits that were sold in this region. So maybe what we can do is direct people to this video instead. This actually seems somewhat straightforward. So on the back side of this plate are going to be 3 screws that hold this plate where our pressure gauge, oil pumps, pump motor, etc. are mounted onto. We'll take this whole thing, theoretically, and transfer it over. I don't know if we need to do any wiring modifications. We might. We'll have to go through and reread some of our schematics just to make sure we're up to date. And yes, I did read the installation instructions, so I have a decent understanding of what we're going to do here today. So looking at our spare parts, or our not spare parts, but our hardware that came with it, we've got 2 new fittings for the stems on the oil pressure gauges. We won't be needing these. These stems were recently replaced, and what happens a lot of times is these can become over tightened. Like somebody will replace them, they over tighten them a little bit, and they'll start to crack here at the threads. And we don't have that problem. We do have 3 screws and like 5 zip ties in here. We probably will need the screws. They're probably for this plate against the base. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip this thing over, and I'm just going to take the 3 screws for this out. I'm not going to get it on camera because, yeah, we're going to shave a couple minutes here and there where we can. Well, fine. Maybe we will get it on camera. I have one here that's just off frame that I took off. We're going to be removing this one and this one as well. That feels like there was thread lock in there. Wow. It did not want to come out easily. 2 hands. So that's out. That's number 2, and this one's going to be number 3. And then we'll flip it back over. I think that our best bet at this point, let me get this stool out of the way. Let's remove our compression fittings here, and let's remove our oil pressure gauge tubing. If we can, please, and thank you. We know that we have new pressure regulator or pulse suppression tubing that comes with this. Yeah, I'm not sure I like these pliers. I would rather grab a wrench of the appropriate size. I'm thinking, well, that's 1/2 inch. That's a little small. Let's go with 9/16. No. 5/8. Ding. Squeaky tight. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I know that it's plastic and you probably don't want it too tight. Gently work it loose. Again, it's plastic. I think that will work. We can remove our elbows off of our oil pumps. Can we? Our motor's in the way. Oh boy, that's okay. See? We don't know what we don't know. We've never done this before, right? So that makes things a little more complicated. I really was hoping we didn't have to pull the entire motor. Ooh, I have a better idea. Let's attack this from a different angle. Let's take these 2 screws out and we can rotato our pump, and that'll give us a little extra clearance. We just need a few degrees of rotation. Is that going to be enough? Ding, we have a winner. There you go. We're just going to take this and set it aside on some towels because it is dripping just a little bit. Okay, so what are we left with? Besides an oily mess, we need to remove our valves and probably our valve wiring, and then transfer that over. I'm going to wipe up some oil here. I'm going to hit pause real quick because I'm going to grab a little bit of coffee real quick too. It would be fair to note that we did not drain either one of these sub tanks or pull the jugs out. So they're full and a little bit heavy. It looks like what we're going to need to do, I'm going to tip this thing over or turn it. Let's see if I can get you guys in a little better spot. What we need to do is we have some little nuts in here and Phillips head screws on the bottom side. So we're gonna, with one hand, we're gonna hold a Phillips head screwdriver on the bottom and see if we can get a wrench in there and remove the nuts off of those screws for each one of these. I ended up deciding I was gonna do it vertically. I didn't hit record, but yeah, you weren't missing a whole lot. We're trying to work quick here because we're spilling oil everywhere, all over the workbench. I went ahead and hose clamped or vice gripped the oil lines off and set them up there so we don't have an active leaking situation anymore. So we can kind of slow our roll a little bit now. Normally, what I would do is I would pull the jugs out, right, while the machine is laying down in the operating position, and turn on the oil pumps and just pump all the oil out. We decided to go a little rogue on this today. So we should have one float switch pair of wires here, one float switch pair of wires here, and we have yellow and brown. These all appear to be pre-wired, in good condition. We will need to take the 2 wire pairs for our oil valves off of here with us and transfer that over. But for the most part, we have all of our goodies are loose. let's see if we can set up for a good shot on this. I can't get any closer because we're using the rear-facing camera, the selfie camera for this, and it doesn't zoom. But what we need to do is we need to insert a small flat blade screwdriver into the end here, and you should be able to remove your wires. This has a chip in it. Oops. Something like that. We'll do it again. Boop, little press down, pulls right out. You want to put the wire in, press down, put the wire in. It's not going anywhere. Yeah, somebody asked how to do that. I've seen that question come up a couple of times. How do I get this wire out of this connector? Press down and pull. Press down and pull. I took all the wires out. We probably don't need to, but we did it for demonstrative purposes. We will need some zip tie cutters. We're going to have to delicately remove our zip ties. This is why we have new zip ties in our little hardware bag. Carefully, with great care, because we don't want to cut the wire. Okay, so we have liberated our oil valves from the wiring harness. We will need to remove this piece of tubing that goes back to our B tank, our Bravo tank. It's okay. It's getting slimy in here. Everything is oily. And remove this from our A tank, or that's the Bravo tank. This is the Alpha tank. Either way, oily mess. But that should do it. Let's just move this next door to our pile. And I think we can safely get rid of this whole contraption at this point. And then it's just putting everything back together. It is important to maintain a little bit of clean while we're going along. Let me grab some cleaner, because we've coated our workbench in lane conditioner. And everything is very slick. So let's take a moment. We'll clean up, wipe our area down. We will also take the time and hit pause again because I would like to have some more coffee. So the next step in our adventure, I think, is logically going to be bolting down our oil valves back down there. And I'm going to do the same thing that we did before. I'm going to stand the thing upright. Not going to be able to get it on camera, but that's what we're going to do. Well, I lied a little bit. I just got the bolt through the frame and just started the nut. So these are loosey-goosey still. Think of it like a bookmark, a placeholder, just to keep stuff from moving around too much. But the next step, we're going to have to make sure that we don't tangle our lines up too much. And then we'll bring our wiring in to our terminal blocks here. So we are following the written instructions. We have valve A, yellow wire, valve B, yellow wire, and we have landed those in the corresponding terminals. We still have two valve A, or a valve A white wire and a valve B white wire that we'll need to put in next. These white wires are not listed in this picture, right? But look, we have two white wires here and we have 0 white wires here. So Survey says, ding, 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 you're going to land one wire in each terminal. They're both brown. They should be a common. So, that's what we're going to do next. And again, I need two hands. And you're not going to be able to see really good if I hang you on the wall there on the drop cord. So, we're going to do this. We're going to stab our little screwdriver in here. We're going to push our wire in. I would always recommend give it a little tug. Make sure that it's not loosey-goosey, because sometimes it might feel like it's in there, but it's not. I've spilled lane conditioner on our on our install instructions, but let's see, where is it? Right here. Salvate a new Wago, first grade terminal. Where is it? Dang it, I just saw it. One orange wire per terminal block section. So separate the white valve wires and route them over to the new Wago. Install one wire per orange terminal block section. That's what we just did. They don't list that in the picture, but it is written right here. So remember, read your info. So we've got all of our wiring landed where it needs to go. When nobody was looking, I put the little plastic cable keepers on there. So we're kind of okay right here for a minute. We're going to slide this over, and then we'll bring in our oil pump. Since we've got new pressure regulator tubing, or I don't know why I say that, pulse suppression tubing, we're going to install that now. Well, we have a little bit of space. And again, these shouldn't be super crazy tight. If they start squeaking, you're probably too tight. They shouldn't leak and they shouldn't squeak. That one's in pretty good. That one's in pretty good. We can always tighten it up a little more later. So this, we're kind of okay here. Now, let's bring the two pieces together. Well, we've got our old pulse suppression tubing. We're going to take that out and pop our new one in here. Same for the other guy. That one's coming out, and this one is coming in. Okay. We're going to bring in some new hardware. We're going to re-finagle everything around. So a lot of stuff crammed into a kind of a small space, right? So one thing at a time. I think it would be best for us to anchor this back down. In that case, well, hold on. Before we do that, since we knew we had to wrangle that around to get it out, let's get that in now too. And let's make it look decent while we're here. Try not to spaghettify it, I guess, too much.
Quick question.
Sure, what do you got?
It should be pretty straightforward, but...
All right, apologies for the interruption. You know, it happens. Let's see if we can get our screw back in here for our oil pump. There we go. I don't need to make it tight just yet. Just to make sure we're all, everything's in there positioned properly. See, these are still loosey-goosey also. I'm not sure why. Let's we'll come back to that in a minute. So we have a, that does not go there. Pump, pressure regular, pulse suppression tubing. Jeez, I believe these go here. Okay. Did I, wait, hold on, I got something plugged in incorrectly. Abort. That's okay. One step at a time. We got interrupted, and we lost our train of thought. We were chooching right along there, and then we got asked some facility maintenance questions. Hold on. So I kind of confused myself there. It's hard sometimes shifting gears. It looks like we will not need this section of tubing, so we can remove that potentially. Yeah, I'm gonna need two hands. We're gonna take tank A and plug it in here, and likewise for tank B and plug it in here. So I didn't have the camera on, but we just we propped the thing up again, and we put our 3 screws in for our sump plate. This is all looking good. We need to go through and we're going to add some more zip ties in here. We're going to clean our wiring up. We're going to double check that we've got everything wiped down nice and clean, so that when we turn it on and we run it, we're going to look for any drips, any leaks, or anything like that. So let's take a peek in here. We've got everything wiped down. We've got our cables routed. We've got zip ties to tie off any of the slack. Tubing looks good. The next step is going to be tightening down our loose oil valves. And so we're going to set it up vertical again, and we're going to need 2 hands. But we're pretty much in the home stretch here. Everything looks pretty good. We're going to trim our little zip tie tails off as well. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see how this runs. Just my 2 cents worth here. I wish this cover extended a little further down. That's seated in there, but we still have some exposed wires and some tubing and stuff. I'm gonna zip tie it up and, you know, make it a little more secure-ish, and maybe make it look a little better. That's a little bit better. We'll trim our tails off. We'll get our cover back in, and we'll get our other cover back on, and then we're ready to put it back in the machine. I didn't get it on camera. Our covers are back on. Our wires are tucked up. That isn't as bad now that we've got this on. There's a little bit of a pressure from the tubing pushing down on this cover. It was a little difficult to get it back on. We had to kind of squeeze up a little bit to flex our tubing up so our screw holes would line up. But yeah, not bad overall. Looks pretty good. Let's get her back in the machine. She's gonna go back in exactly the way it came out. Plugs, tubing. We're zoomed in too far. Our plug connections and our tubing connections back to our elbow. And then we're just gonna swivel it around, lay it flat, and slide her right back in. She's gonna look like that when it's all done. Pretty similar to how we started, but with some brand new tanks. So let's all say, thanks, Kegel, for the new tanks. Thank you very much. Because those white oil bottles and some of that tubing, all those extra connections and stuff, it was quite a few prone leaker areas. So now's the fun part. Since we have a teeny tiny workshop, we're gonna have to lay it down because we're not done yet. we have some software programming setting updates to do. But yeah, so there's our old one. We're going to take the jugs out of that and just fill up the new ones. Easy peasy. But let's see if we have enough room to set this thing down. The survey says, yes, we do. So, pardon me. Let's go ahead and fill up our A and our B tanks. We're using terrain, so we're going to fill both of these up with terrain. Well, I'm thinking about it. It would have been very nice, and maybe they can include it perhaps in some of the future kits that they send out, but an oil funnel would have been nice to have included in that kit. I mean, I still have one from back in the day. Let's go grab it. It's all the way down there. This little guy. Just a funnel with a piece of tubing on the end. It's nothing fancy. That way we can kind of, uh-oh, I dropped the lid. We can glug with confidence. Yeah, I didn't want to try and pour that without a funnel. So I'm glad that we had one. This is a higher viscosity lane conditioner. It's going to take some time, but you get the idea. We're going to do that one, then we're going to do that one. I don't think I can get a flashlight in there, but really, we got about a half a tank. Just enough to make sure the float switch is actuated. What we're going to need to do, we're going to turn her on. Oh, look at that pretty blue light. It's fair to note that these float switches are wired opposite of what the old units were. So the old units, when the float switch was up, you had fluid in your tank, the circuit was closed. And when the float went down, your tank is empty, the circuit went open. These are opposite. We have to change some program settings. Let me double check what we have here. I forget right off the top of my head, so I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna go grab the install instructions. I know we have to flip it. I know it's on the touch screen. You press and hold, but I forget where. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go main menu, more menus. Well, actually, we can go into test oil cleaner. Let's go into program volume testing. That's going to start our pumps, right? We have to purge all the air out. We're going to watch the pumps run for a bit, and then the pressure is going to go up. The pressure is going to go up. There's one, there's two. All right, we've got oil flowing through at least our one half of our valve, our oil control valve. So this is good. Our fluid level go down ever so slightly, not much. But what we want to do, why don't we, let's go home now. Let's go start lane. Let's say lane 1 to lane 1. We're going to hit start. I believe it's supposed to tell me that we're out of oil. It did not. Hold on. What's going on here? Let's run through this real quick. Let's go into input outputs. And we want to check inputs. Oil float switch, cleaner float switch, squeegee up switch. So our float switch is active. And it didn't say we were out of lane conditioner. Interesting. because the book says we need to do this. It should give us an out of conditioner error. Well, I don't know what our software version is too. So version F 2.7 or greater. Yeah, let's see what we have. Input will turn yellow when it is activated. Go to troubleshooting for wire colors. Ah, wrong button. Main menu. More menus. Let's go to About. We have F 2.3A. And this says you will now need to download version F 2.7 or greater software into the PLC, as well as the touchscreen. So we need to, oh boy. Okay. Well, it's time to get on the phone. We need to call Kegel. Well, so we checked in with tech support. I'm waiting to hear back, but I was expecting to see an oil empty error when we filled these up, knowing that other ones that I've done, specifically the cylinder upgrade kit that omits the sub tank reservoir, those ones you had to switch. Not this one, for whatever reason. That might be why it took so long to get it. I'm under the understanding with the people that I've spoke with was that these there was some sort of issue that they caught in the factory and they had to redo before they went out the door. And maybe that was one of those things. Because, yeah, no oil float errors. And I was expecting to see that. So the question at this point is, with the manual or the literature that came with it, says that you should upgrade to F 2.7, and we're at F 2.3. So the big question then is, what's the advantage of upgrading to F 2.7 software versus our F 2.3 software? I don't know. Hopefully we can get an answer for that pretty soon. Well, good news, everybody. We heard back from our friends at tech support, and the good news is there's no software update needed in order to make this run on this machine. The software updates from F23 to F27 are being able to toggle between K2 and K3 duster cloth. You can toggle on and off the learning as it walks on the approach, and some other various internal things. So this is good to go. We're done here. We're ready to run it. It's been sitting here for like, I don't know, half hour. No drips. That's old stains on the floor. These are not oil drips. So we're leak free. We're drip free. We're good to go. We're clear for takeoff. It's time to end this video.